What's up, everyone? Welcome to this day in Philly Sports History for April 8th, 2023. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Few quick housekeeping things, and I know I've been saying this all week. I have not forgotten. I just have not had the time to record and do it the right way I want to do it. The Back to the Future for this week for the 93 Phillies. Hopefully later today I can kind of get some notes and everything together and possibly record tomorrow or Monday. It's coming. It just means there'll be two within less than a week's period of time. But I promise they are coming. Or it is coming. All right. Sixers update. They won 136-131 in overtime against the Hawks. Kind of a meaningless, who cares type of game. But it was good to see the bench players get some playing time and get some run that's going to be good going into the playoffs, which because they won, I guess it was because they won. I didn't even check to see how. I just saw that the Sixers will be playing the Nets in the first round of the playoffs. So we will also be doing a Sixers playoff preview next week. So I don't know. Maybe I'll combine the two, do a little 93 Phillies. I don't know. Somehow, some way, I'll get the podcast out and done. Phillies won their home opener 5-2. JT with a 2-run shot, and Mundo Sosa with a pinch hit home run. The bullpen looked good. Wheeler was good, and then he got a little roughed up there. It's still early, so hopefully as things go, he'll get his sea legs, so to speak. But the bullpen has looked pretty well since that series in Texas, which is good because we said that should be the strength of this team. Castellanos is looking pretty well. Or pretty good. He looks like he's seeing the ball well, much better than what he was last year. I'm hoping that this means whatever he said in the offseason about being comfortable and getting his swagger back is the truth. But he's definitely swinging the bat well. Derek Hall is going to be out for a good chunk of the season, and it's a shame because he was getting his shot at first base and honestly got hurt trying to press and push and do too much. But that happens. He's got, I think it's probably the same injury that Embiid had last year or the year before in the playoffs with the torn ligament. But it gives Cody Clemens a chance to play at a big league level. It was good to see Roger Clemens at the game yesterday. Always was a big Clemens fan. And I know I don't want to get into the steroid stuff right now today, but always liked him. So we know that Cody has a good pedigree. Hopefully some of that transfers. I know Roger was a pitcher, but hopefully some of that transfers into first base or the outfield, wherever they have him playing. But we're going to stick with the Phillies today. And today we're going to go back to 2009, which doesn't seem like it's that long ago, but in reality, it's almost 15 years ago. But on this day, April 8th, 2009, the Phillies got their World Series championship rings, then played the Braves. And if you think back to that time, that whole beginning of that season was just a hot mess because we were just still on the high of the World Series championship. I remember being down there for opening night. They looked like absolute crap. The next game, they looked even worse. And it just was not looking good. But you know what? We knew we were getting the rings and wanted to see just what they look like because they kept it a big secret. And I remember when I was teaching, we went and took a group of kids. It was great. Took a group of kids to the game. Unfortunately, didn't get to stay for the whole game because we had to get back so they could take the buses home. But it was just started off the way the whole season did, and then all of a sudden the Phillies opened up for an 8-run seventh inning. They went on to win 12-11, which is great because they had scored just one run the previous two games against the Braves. Early in that game, though, it didn't look good. Heavy B, Joe Blanton got roughed up, but Raul Bañez, who had just signed that season, had 3 RBIs and went 2 for 3. Utley went 2 for 4 with 2 RBI. They struggled and kind of fell down the standings and trying to get their bearings early in that season. But then probably like the first 6 weeks, and then about mid-May, everything started clicking for them. They moved in the first place and pretty much stayed there then the rest of the season. I think a couple spots in May they were tied or maybe a half a game out. But that was the year they went back to the World Series, lost to the Yankees, traded for Cliff Lee. We talked about that way back on one of the first episodes of Back to the Future. But that was just, it was a fun time where Citizens Bank Park was the place to be. So I would love to see that happen again with this team. And again, they're off to a slow start, a little bit slower than what the 2009 team did. But there is hope that they can turn it around. It's early in the season. We always say you can't win the division or the pennant in April, but you certainly can use it. So as long as they're within striking distance, and the Phillies in their history have a knack of getting hot at the right time and doing what they need to do. But on this day in 2009, it was kind of the last celebration of that '08 World Series championship. You had the opening day festivities and all the stuff that went with that, and then they actually got their rings on this day, and then they were able to actually focus on baseball, which I think for this team was a good thing at the time. Charlie always said, we just got to wait till hitting season, and when hitting season came, they exploded that year. But they were actually pretty cool, the rings themselves. But that's what happened on this day back in 2009. All right, today's Eagles draft pick spotlight. We're going to look at Charlie Garner, the Falls Church, Virginia native, was the second-round pick, number 42 overall out of Tennessee. He started off, interesting enough, and I forgot about this, at Scottsdale Community College in Arizona, then transferred to Tennessee. His senior year, he was just incredible. He rushed for 1,161 yards, 8 touchdowns. He did play for 5 years with the Eagles, and the hope was, and he was a good pass-catching back too, but they had the Thunder and Lightning with Ricky Watters, and just never really were able to translate that into any success in the win-loss columns. But he left as a free agent, went to San Francisco, had his 2 best years. After he left the Eagles, he went to the Pro Bowl in 2000. And as I mentioned, he was a decent pass catcher. After San Francisco, he went to Oakland, where he had 91 catches for 941 yards in 2002. Also added 960 rushing yards. He played last season with Tampa Bay, got hurt, and then ultimately retired. Unfortunately, today, he believes, and the doctors confirm this, they believe that he has CTE, which is a sad kind of ending to this story. But overall, I mean, he had over 10,000, almost 11,000 overall total yards, 51 touchdowns. He was a good back, and I saw what the Eagles, thinking back, what they were trying to do, but they drafted him and then brought in Ricky Watters, which sort of didn't really help Charlie Garner. And I remember being so excited at the time because we were like, oh, we got Ricky Watters and Charlie Garner is going to be good. Finally, after all these years, the Eagles are going to have a decent running game, which they did. But like I said, they were trotting out all kinds of trash at quarterback during that time. But Charlie Garner, Eagles second-round pick, number 42 overall out of Tennessee, back in, I believe it was 1994, because they got Waters in 1995. So this was like during that whole Ray Rhodes sort of, we are not that good, we don't have a quarterback. That just, it was frustrating. It was a very frustrating time because we were just coming off of that Eagles, like that, the Buddy Ryan teams, the gangrene and everything, and being used to success. And then, like I mentioned the other day with Mike Mamula, basically we were like a second-tier team then. And again, these guys that were spotlighting yesterday and today are, I feel, the poster child of that, meaning that we could have been good. And of course, Charlie Garner leaves and has his best days outside of Philadelphia. But Charlie Garner, second-round pick of the Eagles back in 1994. On this day, back in 2009, the Phillies, I'll be all right, don't worry, it's Saturday, it's been a long week. The Phillies got their World Series championship rings. The Sixers are taking on the Nets in the first round of the playoffs. Back to the future is coming, I promise. This has been This Day in Philly Sports History. I'm Jim Montgomery, and until next time, I'll see you when I see you.